Every generation gets the campfire story it deserves. Ours didn't come from a stranger in the woods. It came from anonymous image boards in the early 2000s, right as Bitcoin and Tor were becoming household whispers. Someone, somewhere, wrote the first version. A hidden site, an entry fee in crypto, a live camera pointed at a captive, viewers voting on cruelty in real time. It was horror movie perfect. Hostel meets a chat room, The Purge with a paywall, and it spread the way all good horror spreads, through people who swore they'd heard from a friend who saw it. True crime channels picked it up. Creepypasta writers built entire mythologies around it. Within a few years, Red Room wasn't a rumor anymore. It was accepted fact for an entire generation of internet users. By 2015, the legend had its own internal logic. People described the entry fees down to the dollar. They described the interface. Some swore they'd been one click away from paying. Amateur investigators built entire guides on how to find one. Guides that, as we'll get to, led people somewhere very different from where they thought. There was just one problem nobody wanted to ask out loud. Could it actually work? Here's what almost nobody explains about the dark web. It isn't a secret internet, it's the regular internet, routed through a system called Tor, built, ironically, by the US Navy to protect government communications. Tor hides you through onion routing. Your data gets wrapped in layers of encryption and bounced through at least 3 random relays before it reaches its destination. Each relay only knows the node before it and the node after it. Nobody in the chain ever sees the whole path. It's brilliant for privacy. It is catastrophic for speed. A stable HD live stream needs 5 to 10 megabits per second with latency under a few hundred milliseconds. Tor's bouncing, encrypting, decrypting architecture cannot deliver that, not for one viewer, and definitely not for a chat room full of them voting in real time. Try to force it, and you get exactly what any Tor user has experienced loading a basic forum: buffering, freezing, disconnecting. Now imagine trying to run a live interactive broadcast on top of that. It doesn't lag, it dies. And if a criminal tried to route around Tor entirely using a faster private server to stream, congratulations, you've just broadcast your real IP address to every law enforcement agency on Earth. The entire point of hiding disappears the moment you try to go live. Think about what that actually means. The one feature every version of the Red Room legend depends on, a live interactive broadcast with real-time voting, is the exact feature the technology cannot physically support. Not rarely, not with enough money, cannot. It's like describing an underwater bonfire and asking why nobody's ever filmed one. This isn't speculation. Digital forensics teams at the FBI and Interpol have said it for over a decade. No server log, no network capture, no piece of forensic evidence has ever confirmed a live-streamed torture broadcast on Tor. Not one. So if it's physically impossible, why do so many people believe they've seen it, heard about it, almost paid for it? Because somebody built the myth into a business. Search the right corners of the ClearNet and you'll find links promising exactly this experience. They almost always lead to the same trap. A polished, intimidating interface. Warnings about federal surveillance to make it feel more real. A countdown to a private broadcast. And a wallet address demanding payment before you're allowed in. The victim pays. The clock hits 0. And what plays is never what was promised. A pixelated loop ripped from an old shock site or a clip from a horror film, stretched and darkened to look authentic. Within minutes, the connection fails. The site goes dark. The money is already gone, tumbled through crypto mixers across a dozen wallets before anyone notices. And here's the part that makes this scam almost perfect. The victims can't report it. Think about it. Who walks into a police station and says, "I paid Bitcoin to watch a torture stream and got scammed"? Nobody. Shame does the criminal's job for them. Silence is the business model. That's how a fake website with a countdown timer has quietly stolen from thousands of curious tourists, with almost 0 consequences. Cybersecurity researchers have tracked entire clusters of these sites. Same templates, same fake countdown scripts, same wallet laundering patterns, recycled under new domain names every few months whenever one gets flagged. It isn't one criminal running a con. It's an entire cottage industry feeding off a myth that refuses to die, precisely because the shame keeps every victim quiet. So the myth is fake. The scam built on top of it is very real. But debunking both of those isn't actually the scary part of this story. The scary part is what's true underneath. Law enforcement doesn't just debunk the Red Room myth, they warn you not to feel relieved by it, because the absence of a live stream is not the absence of evil. The real horror on the dark web doesn't happen in real time. It happens quietly, asynchronously, recorded and traded rather than broadcast. Running a live server means constant, traceable bandwidth, a digital fingerprint law enforcement can follow. Uploading a file once through encrypted peer-to-peer networks leaves almost nothing to trace. That distinction, live versus recorded, is not a technicality. It's the difference between a myth and a documented case file, and it's the reason investigators keep repeating the same warning, almost word for word, across a dozen different countries. Stop looking for the broadcast. Start looking for the archive. In 2015, Philippine and Australian investigators closed in on a compound in General Trias, Cavite. The man they arrested was an Australian fugitive named Peter Scully, who had fled fraud charges years earlier and rebuilt himself in the Philippines as something far worse. Scully never ran a live Red Room. There was no countdown, no chat room, no crypto vote. Instead, operating under aliases across hidden forums, he produced and distributed recorded videos of unspeakable abuse, material that circulated in encrypted networks and became, without investigators ever intending it, the real-world seed of the entire Red Room legend. When the Philippine National Bureau of Investigation and the Australian Federal Police finally raided that compound, they didn't find a cyberpunk broadcast studio. They found a small, sordid operation built on encrypted file sharing and silence, and they rescued victims who were still alive. In 2018, a Philippine court convicted Scully on dozens of counts including human trafficking and murder. He was sentenced to life without parole, a sentence the Philippine Supreme Court upheld in 2022. Internet sleuths who whispered about his case online did what internet sleuths always do. They filled in the terrifying gaps with fiction. If material this dark existed in hidden archives, surely someone was broadcasting it live too. That leap, from documented horror to imagined spectacle, is where the myth was actually born. So why does the Red Room refuse to die, even after everyone from the FBI to cybersecurity researchers has debunked it? Because we want to believe in a hidden world just beneath the surface of our tracked, algorithmic lives, a place where the rules stop applying. The Red Room gives that fear a shape, a countdown, a chat room, a villain you can imagine and then dismiss when the video ends. It's almost comforting, in a strange way. A monster with a countdown timer is a monster with rules. A monster you can debunk and then close your laptop and sleep. The real version doesn't offer that comfort. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with a chat room or a scoreboard. It just happens quietly, and it's only ever stopped by the boring, unglamorous work of real investigators tracing real files back to real people. The real dark web is less cinematic and more disturbing. It's a tool used by journalists hiding sources, by dissidents escaping surveillance states, and yes, by criminals who don't need a live audience. They just need a camera, a hidden folder, and a network built on silence. So the next time a video promises you a real Red Room, remember 3 things. The physics say it's impossible, the scam artists are counting on your curiosity, and the actual monsters were never hiding behind a countdown timer. They were hiding behind silence. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and never mistake the myths of the internet for the reality of the world.